Hello, everyone out there in screen and podcast land. You're listening to the Goopplycast. I'm Matt Carter. With us today is Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
We also have Tim. Hey, Tim.
Hey.
And we also have Roy. Hey, Roy.
What's up?
So today we are going to be talking about a lot of explosions that are happening in the video game industry. Is that right? Does that sound about right, guys?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing might as well be the great volume of Xbox information that we have at our fingertips now. And PlayStation. We have everything, almost everything revealed about the new consoles coming out. And Tim, you were thinking about possibly buying the Xbox Series X.
If I were to, I'm not sure if I. It's tricky because Microsoft is releasing all their first-party exclusives that are going to be on both systems. Or on the Xbox is also being released on Windows. I primarily play my games on PC. Ever since 2013, I've been mostly playing PC, and just if they weren't releasing it, if I would definitely buy an Xbox if they were not releasing it on PC. But just most games that they're releasing now is coming out on PC, which is nice. It's definitely a pro consumer move from their end to be.
Oh yeah, and
publishing.
aren't they on Steam now?
Yeah, they started releasing things on the Windows Store, but no one was buying them, so they eventually moved to Steam in a pro consumer thing. And so you can either buy the games outright on Steam for the full price, or you can buy them on Games Pass for PC, which is like I think it's $10 a month, and you get all the games day one when they come out.
I feel oddly spoiled by Microsoft and the Xbox brand now because they're just giving so much away. I remember there was the dream that you could play like Halo on a Nintendo system, like you could play it on like a Switch or something like that. And I feel like we're getting there because Game Pass gives us PC access and like all their exclusives and stuff. And
they're
yeah.
also releasing it on phone as well with the game streaming service. You can download the app and you can play it all on the cloud on your phone. So you really don't need an Xbox to be able to play Xbox anymore. Like, as long as you pay the monthly fee of the subscription for Games Pass, you can pretty much play it on pretty much anything you have.
I feel like the only reason anybody would go with an Xbox at this point is, if somebody didn't have a gaming PC already. If you have a gaming PC, there's absolutely zero reason to get an Xbox, in all honesty. I mean, you're going to get all those PC gamers that are going to be like, oh, there's no reason to ever get a console. But, I mean, let's face it, exclusives. PlayStation's going to have exclusives. Xbox is going to have exclusives, and that's kind of where you pick which one you want. But Microsoft is making their Xbox almost obsolete to those that, hardcore game on the PC. They're not going to buy an Xbox. They're not going to give them their money. It's the people that are like, oh, I'll spend $300 on a Series S, or $500 on a Series X because I don't want to go spend $1,500 on a gaming rig for a PC.
It's like, I don't need to play Crysis Remastered at ultra settings.
Like, there's a lot of like people who they don't want a gaming PC. They might be able to afford one and everything, but they don't want a gaming PC because computers can be complicated with a lot of different people. And like, I have friends who wanted to get into gaming PC or PC gaming, and they get computers and now their computer has viruses on them. It's like, not everyone is willing to fork out and get a gaming PC. Sometimes you just want a box that you can plug into your TV and play. And that's part of the reason why Microsoft's making this console, is because they want to reach out to those people who don't want a PC.
And yeah, for $299 for the Xbox Series S, it comes with.
It's insane.
It's pretty modern gaming. Like, this is a gaming PC that you wouldn't be unhappy to get if you were going to get something like this.
Yeah.
It plays only Microsoft games and the games that Microsoft lets onto their console, but 144p, like that's at 120 FPS, is pretty insane. And everybody was complaining though about the storage space for the S, since it was just a digital only console, 512 seems kind of low for modern games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Seems
agree with that.
it was low for ones that were not strictly digital only.
Oh god, like GTA, which is coming to the new consoles also, in case you don't have it yet. In case you didn't get it from Epic Games for free or haven't bought it over the 10 years that it's existed.
Yeah.
So how much streaming or how much storage space do you get with the Series? Oh, Series X is 1 terabyte.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah,
much bigger.
512 seems really low.
They are
It's
selling.
nothing.
Yeah.
Can you plug in an external hard drive?
So they are partnering with Seagate to make these. They look like memory cards, but they hold a terabyte that you can plug into the back. They are making those. I do know on the Xbox One, you can buy like a 5 terabyte external hard drive that's USB 3.0, and you can plug that in. You can load all your games on that, and I've done that, and it runs just as well. But I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure that's going to pass over to the next generation, but
I think that it is, because I think I heard someone talking about that you can plug in an external hard drive of whatever size you need to either of these consoles, but you can't put Xbox Series games on them. So you can't play the next generation of games off of your hard drive. That has to be on internal storage, but you can play like classic games and like Xbox 360 games and maybe Xbox
original
X original or Xbox One games off of the hard drive also, plus the
If you
original.
can't put current gen games on there, it's not going to make the big difference. I mean, once again, you could buy on launch your Xbox One and your PS4 had 500 gigabytes worth of storage, and it just isn't enough. I mean, it just isn't. And that's with discs.
And for all of the storage space that takes up, Tim was saying that you could get one that you could put inside your console, which I think is going to be the spec it needs to be. Like it's going to run fast enough, I think, to play the Xbox Series games, but it's like $200 for like a terabyte.
At that point, you might as well just buy the Series X.
Yeah. Because it winds up making it
for double the price.
It's great that they have that option. I mean, if I was somebody who was like, I really want to get my hands on next gen console now because I want to play Halo, I can go out and spend the $299 and I can play today because I can't afford the $600 for a Series X. And that's great because then they can be like, in the future, I'll buy that expansion. I'll be fine. I'm good for now, though. Like, there's definitely going to be people who do that. But for anybody that can afford a Series X, it sounds like you're better off getting a Series X than buying the Series S and then upgrading your memory later.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I would probably. I was just gonna say I would probably buy the Series S just because, like I probably would only play Grand Theft Auto and Halo, and I might play some of their new, some of the other titles like Wolfenstein and Doom maybe as well. But those are about the only games that I would play. I was never a real hardcore gamer before. I did play Call of Duty a little bit and wasn't too into it, but I was a big Halo fan. So
I mean,
oh, go ahead.
I do. I mean, I have an Xbox One, I have a PS4, I have a Switch. I mainly play most of my games on my Switch right now. That's where I do most of my gaming. It's easy. I can take it to work with me. I can bring it home. I can lay in bed with it. The only thing I really play on my Xbox One is either I recently started playing Red Dead Redemption 2 because I've lived under a rock and haven't played that yet. And then I have a buddy that we get together once a week online at night and we're playing through the Master Chief Collection. So, if I was strictly going to use the Xbox for that, I'll get the Series S, if you're going to do it casually. And then if I wanted to play something more hardcore, because I know I'm going to get the new Final Fantasy game for PlayStation, I'd probably get the bigger version of the PlayStation 5 that had the disc drive and whatnot, so that I had, a heavier hardcore console that I could do my regular gaming on.
What's interesting with the Xbox, what they're doing this generation around is they're offering financing available for the system. So if you can't afford or don't want to pay the $300 for the S and the $500 for the X, you can finance it. It's 25. Is it 25? I believe it's 25 or 29. Yeah, it's $25 a month for the S, and then $35 a month for the X. And when you finance it, you're also getting Game Pass for 2 years with the system.
Wow.
And what I find interesting, if I was 14 years old and didn't have money to buy a next generation console right out, like, you come up with $25 a month, and then that includes your system. That also includes your games, because it includes Game Pass and Xbox Live. So suddenly that $25 a month gives you every release from Microsoft as it's getting when it comes out. And then 25.
And then you go beg your parents to sign up for it for you.
Yeah.
Because as a 14-year-old, you can't.
Yep.
I don't think you have much credit there.
It definitely does make it. It definitely does make it much easier,
affordable.
Yes. Like Tim said, you can come up with $25 a month. Anybody can come up with $25 a month. You want a game, you can do it.
It's kind of like what everybody's doing. Like, everybody's financing. You can go and, you can finance an iPhone. You can get, financing through it. You can finance your phones, all those type of things. So it's the same concept. They're just applying it to gaming systems now. And I think we'll see more of that, coming out in the future. So
I really like it, because I think it's going to make me get an Xbox this generation really early, and then either immediately get a PlayStation 5, because the prices were announced for those, or, I mean, if I can find one by the time it launches and they're not horribly unavailable. But, the PlayStation 5 is a little bit more prohibitive, because it's $499 for the one with the disc drive, and then does 4K and has a bigger 825 gig hard drive, at least in the Series S. But it also does 4K. It's got the disc drive, but then there's a PlayStation 5 digital edition, which is $399, and that one just doesn't have a disc drive. So I feel like Xbox with the financing is a really, really good deal if you either just want to get into gaming, and then I don't know, have Game Pass included in that, so have an instant library of stuff, which I think is pretty compelling.
Fantastic tactic by Microsoft there.
Yeah, I agree.
There was a Major Nelson, one of spokesperson for Xbox. He was at a PAX panel doing a Q&A, and someone asked, I don't remember exactly what the question was, but he said, we don't care if you play where you play Xbox games, whether it's on PC, console, your phone. We don't care where you play it on. We just want you to play Xbox games. That's pretty much what Microsoft's mission now is as a service. And it's very clear, with Microsoft released Office 365, Azure, all these different services available. They're no longer focusing on releasing stuff. They're focusing on selling a service. And
I think that brings more of a revenue cost for them, and an ongoing revenue cost. We see it with other services too, like Google, Apple, and all those. It's just a service that they want to provide, and they're reaching out and dividing more services to create that revenue coming in.
And it's kind of almost like they're trying to get their foot out of the door of consoles by having their content available everywhere.
It's going to happen to GameStop.
That meme where it shows Ralph on the bus at the back of the bus, and it says, "I'm in danger." There was a meme I saw the other day where it's Xbox and Sony announce digital only versions of their console, and it shows Ralph, but it says GameStop, "I'm in trouble."
Well, and you've seen GameStop do other things. They tried to sell tablets. They tried to sell phones, reusable ones. they operate the Think Geek stores, I think now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's them. So I think they're trying to branch off into other different things. But I mean, with all the digital content coming out and digital media, I just don't see how, buying games. I mean, yeah, you could go in there and buy a reused system or whatnot, but
Mhm.
I don't think that's going to be enough revenue for them to keep the thing going.
I think
No,
we'll
and
see a lot of Think Geek and GameStop stores start to combine into being one store versus two separate stores
oh
as we
my
start to
God.
see games go more and more digital. I mean, as long as there's a physical medium that GameStop can sell, I still think GameStop will be fine. Next generation is probably where they're really going to be in trouble, and they're going to kind of probably go downhill with this generation.
I feel like that's like a Toys R Us, Babies R Us concept. When you say combine them together.
I mean, think about it. I mean, if
Yeah, I mean, I
GameStop
agree,
has to
yeah.
downsize, I don't think
Yeah.
ThinkGeek's going anywhere. I think ThinkGeek
I
is
think
perfectly
you could
fine.
I think you could rebrand GameStop into ThinkGeek itself and just sell
Exactly.
consoles too. Like
And that's what it's going to be.
A GameStop wall in the back that sells consoles and stuff.
GameStop's going to be the one to downsize, not ThinkGeek.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like the merch version of like Best Buy or something like that. Because that's another space that probably isn't too afraid because they have things other than gaming to rely on.
Or you'll walk into a GameStop and you'll see TVs that you can buy on one wall, consoles you can buy on another.
Oh, God. I remember working at GameStop, and when Microsoft announced that the Xbox One was going to be like digital only, spooky, scary thing, my GameStop was like, oh my gosh, we need servers and we need to have codes that we sell because the games aren't going, if we sell a game at retail, it's going to have like a code maybe, and how are we going to exchange codes? How are we going to resell codes? Microsoft, please help us. And now I feel like COVID and online shopping have this year been like so explosive that going into a more digital console era is like super good for both of the companies and very bad for GameStop. I don't think
I
they can
totally
handle it.
agree.
GameStop will continue selling Funko Pops and other T-shirts you can buy. I'll go there for all my Funko
But
Pops.
that's ThinkGeek, though. I mean, that's exactly what ThinkGeek
Yeah.
is.
It is.
They do.
So can we talk about the PlayStation 5 design and how, like Tim said during one of our chats during the week, he said it looks like a router, and then put two pieces of paper next to his router, and it looks like the router. Like,
It
Oh
just
God,
looks,
it does.
Yeah, it just looks like any
just
other.
put two slides of paper on each side, and it's a
Yeah.
router.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I played Yu-Gi-Oh, so this reminds me of a character from Yu-Gi-Oh named Kaiba, and he was like a cool guy. This looks like him, like a very try-hard look at being cool and trendy, but it's kind of, if it was a different color, I might be okay with it. I don't know if all white, its uniqueness stands out too much.
I will be honest. The design it was revealed back in was it July? I want to say it was July, and the design has grown on me a lot. I thought it was terrible looking when it first got announced. I thought it looked awful, but now it's slightly grown on me, and I kind of like it. But it's huge.
I guess it's grow on you too.
I will forever see that piece of paper, the two pieces of paper you put on the side of your router, and basically that's the PlayStation. Like,
Just don't hook it up right next to your router. You might restart the wrong one.
Yeah. Or you'll be telling your partner, your wife, or whatever, not, go restart the router, and she's going over there trying to restart the router, and boom, there goes your PlayStation.
All your saved data.
It's a huge
Red button do I press?
It's a huge system. If some people were comparing, if you compare the disk drive to other systems, it's huge. It's the biggest game console I think we've seen ever. It's giant.
No, not bigger.
It's huge. There's no like official like in-person like pictures of it. There is like There's one picture of a guy holding it in a factory, and it's like the size of his torso. He's just holding this. It's
That's
huge.
Wow.
I'll see.
so
if I can-
shocking.
It's huge.
I think that's
Original
a bad.
Xbox was
I think
huge too.
Yeah.
it was, but I
And
think
they
that's
learned.
a bad. Yeah, they learned because look at
They went with the
look at
360, which
Xbox.
literally they like carved out shapes on the 360. They carved out stuff so that could be thinner.
Yeah,
Big console.
crazy.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but have either of you guys seen a teardown of either of the consoles?
I have
Like
not.
people opening it up. So on the inside of the Xbox One or Xbox Series, I don't know what to call it. The XX. Anyways, inside on I think the fan, like right when you open the top grating, I think they emblazoned an image of like Master Chief or something somewhere on the actual inner components of the Series X. So there's some, I don't know, there's an Easter egg in the system, which I think is kind of cool.
I think I saw a tweet about that, like a little picture of, because Microsoft's done that with the I think it's the Xbox, the Xbox One X. Is that the same? I think it's the same system. I can't tell anymore which system.
Names.
You know, the fact that they brought out an Xbox One S and Xbox One X is not going to make this easier either.
Yeah,
It's like the
It's the
Nintendo
same
Wii U
letters.
all over again.
Oh gosh. No one will know this holiday season when parents come in asking for something that sounds like Xbox Series.
they're gonna
X,
come
like-
home and they're gonna open their present on Christmas, and the parents are gonna think they got the right one, and then they're gonna get the wrong one.
You joke, but
such
you
a
know it's going to
disappointing-
happen.
You know it is. Yeah, you know it is.
True.
So did they announce storage size for the PlayStation 5, the digital version? Because I noticed on the thing it says 2
The last I
gigabytes.
checked, they hadn't.
What you think that would be something they'd want to announce?
I almost feel that they probably weren't going to launch a digital only version until Xbox did, and then they're like, "Oh crap, we need to compete with this."
I don't know. I feel like Sony had to have planned this for a lot longer than we might expect. Because, I don't know, for some reason, not giving the storage space just makes it seem like Sony is aware that if it's too low, we'll be super, super angry. And if it's high, like just high enough, then people might actually pay, $399 for the PlayStation 5 instead of $299 for the
According
Series
to
S.
Eurogamer, it is going to be 825 gigabyte SSD.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the
Yeah,
same as
I
the
can-
PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I can.
so
I
it'll
can
be
deal
the
with
same
that.
storage.
Sony won. Saying that.
So you're buying a
no.
PlayStation 5.
Well, I was going to buy a PlayStation 5 regardless, but I wasn't sure when I'd buy a PlayStation 5. But the fact that their lower end version has the same storage space as their higher end version, 800. What you said, 812.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a decent substantial amount of memory. I mean, that makes it well worth the extra $100 for the PlayStation, as far as I'm concerned.
And the PlayStation is using their own custom storage, their own custom hard drive, which they were like claiming that games can be lower in storage space, like how much it takes up. So if the like exclusive PlayStation games are just tinier, you also get like the extra
More.
benefit, I guess.
That's just the icing on the cake right there.
Yeah. Faster hard drives, stronger load times.
Except you won't be able to play Halo on your PlayStation 5.
I got my Android phone for that. I will probably be getting a PlayStation 5, not at launch, but I just they announced God of War 2, God of War Ragnarok during the console reveal, and I was like, oh, okay, they're working on it. It's probably coming out hopefully like early next year or something like that. I'm down. I'm ready to go. That is the game that I'm going to buy this next generation console for sure.
Did you not go out and watch that Final Fantasy 16 trailer?
So I saw it, and I've been burned by Final Fantasy twice now. Final Fantasy X I did not enjoy, and Final Fantasy 15 I did not like at all, very much. But 16 looked really good.
You have to take into consideration that the guy that made 16 is the same guy that brought 14 back from the ashes and made it into the successful game. I mean, it's successful enough that Square can keep it as a subscription-based service after how many years versus
That's
however
true.
many MMOs that have failed to World of Warcraft. I mean, they're the only one that I can think of that has stayed subscription-based. In fact, I know people at work that exclusively play Final Fantasy 14, more people than I know that exclusively play WoW.
Oh,
Um, and not only that, but the same music team from 14 worked on 16 as well.
oh.
I think that speaks a lot to the level that 16 will be. And I agree, 15
Hmm.
looked really good, and it wasn't a
Looks
bad
so
game,
good.
but it was a letdown from what I was expecting.
Hmm.
I only recently actually went back and played 10, like in the last year.
Oh,
And it
really?
was the story. The story was okay. The gameplay was kind of meh. I did not like the sphere grid. Blitzball was horrible. But
I just gave up on Blitzball.
I
Couldn't do
think
it.
that 16 looks fantastic, and if it can hold up to the same caliber that Yoshi P did for 14 Realm Reborn, then I think that it's going to be fantastic.
I'm gonna be honest, hearing all of that is it gives me a lot of hope for that game because of how much attention he put into bringing Final Fantasy 14 back to life. Like that's an incredible feat, and this is going to be a much smaller in scope game than that. So I imagine it's going to benefit wonderfully from his talents. I'm very curious because the trailer for Final Fantasy 16 started out on a bonfire, which always makes me think like the Dark Souls, like Bloodborne games. And then I saw the dudes fighting like demons and stuff, and it's in Final Fantasy's new like third person engine, so they can pull off all these crazy cool third person attacks, which is what like 15 was based on. So I'm curious how difficult the game is going to be, given that the whole gaming industry seems to like add little bits of Dark Souls to their game.
Have you played the 7 remake yet?
Not yet. I was afraid again.
So 7 remake wasn't horrible. I haven't finished it yet, but very familiar to the Final Fantasy 15 battle engine. But I couldn't quite put my finger on what was bugging me. And I went into work the next day and I was talking to a buddy and a huge Final Fantasy fan. And he's like, that combat system is so completely bloated because you have to keep track of your ATBs, you have to keep track of your limit breaks. You have to take, there's like 6 different things you have to
Mm,
keep track of during battle. And it can feel very bloated. And I'm hoping that 16 doesn't have that bloated feel because there is a
mm-hmm,
lot going on in combat at once in the 7
mm-hmm.
remake.
That does sound overwhelming. And been in groups where people just kind of just talk about the latest Final Fantasy games and 7 in particular. I've heard the same thing. Like 7 was an enjoyable experience, like especially for a remake. Um, but you know, when Final Fantasy fans like or dislike something, they let everybody know. So, like you said, I'm hoping that they've learned from their forays into a completely new engine for them, which it looks beautiful. So I keep hoping there's more games with that. Hopefully they learn more with how to design in that and make it fun for everybody? Question mark. Were there any other? Did you guys watch the PlayStation 5? I was going to say 15. The PlayStation 5 launch, Tim or Matt?
I didn't.
I did. The game looked pretty good. They're nothing super notable. I'm not a huge PlayStation player, so I don't know all the PlayStation games. I saw the Call of Duty looked pretty good.
I've seen an incredible number of Call of Duty trailers now, more than I've seen in any year past. I mean, yeah, like new consoles are coming out, so I'm paying attention to that, but it just seems like, I don't know, this Call of Duty looks interesting because they're doing like the Vietnam era, I think,
It's
which
cold.
sounds like it'll be a Cold War.
I believe it's Cold War. I
Oh, I think it's
think.
just, yeah, Call of Duty Cold War, which I don't know. It seems like they're driving really hard for story, and then they also have Warzone, so they have a really intense multiplayer. So I'm curious what Call of Duty is going to be on these new consoles.
I'm glad we're not in space anymore. Those were the dark days of Call of Duty.
That Modern Warfare remake they came out with, what was it? Was it earlier this year? Was it last year? This whole year is just, I can't even remember what happened this year versus last year. But it was the Modern
What is time this
Warfare
year?
reboot remake. They kind of took the Modern Warfare game that happened, Call of Duty 4, from what was it, 2006 that it came out, and they kind of reimagined it for a modern era. And I played through that, and that was a really enjoyable experience because everything after Modern Warfare 2, in my opinion, just kind of went downhill. I played through Modern Warfare 3 to finish out the story, and I played through Black Ops 1 and 2, but they just got progressively worse and worse, in my opinion. They were just, trying to capitalize on whatever cash cow they could at that point.
Yeah, we were talking offline before, and like I said, I purchased my last Call of Duty that I purchased is still unopened, and it was for the Xbox 360. I never opened it. I think it's still in my closet somewhere.
Oh my goodness!
But
You'll have to get that out at some point. I'm curious which one it is now.
Yeah, I'll see if I can dig it out. I'll let you know which one it is. But yeah, I mean, it was from years ago because it was back when we were all working at FM together.
Oh yeah, the big FM. Which, if everybody doesn't know, Fred Meyer is a great place to go for buying video game consoles because nobody knows.
Remember the midnight launches, Tim? I don't know if did you work midnight launches with us?
Oh, they were so fun.
I don't remember, but
I don't think I did.
I think he came in because I want to say the last midnight launch we did was Grand Theft Auto. Like I think that was the last midnight opening, unless we did a midnight opening for.
There was one for Destiny that I went to. As an attendee.
Did we do one? We did do one for Destiny,
did.
Didn't we?
All 10,000 copies.
I did not
of
have
that
to
game
work that one. I think that was the first one I didn't have to work.
Yeah,
that was.
So
We're gonna say.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was going to say, but yeah, I remember those days when Roy and I worked a lot of them together, for sure.
We don't have anymore. Like midnight launches are going so far away. First, it was 9 p.m. midnight launches in the PST time zone and like midnight on the East Coast, and now it's a digital game. So
we don't have midnight releases of movies either anymore. Like I used to stay up and go to midnight releases to some of the movies. And then it became 10 o'clock. And now it's 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
And they still call it midnight openings. Oh, I'm going to go to the midnight opening of Avengers. It's like, cool, you're going to midnight. Now I'm going at 7 p.m.
Like I loved staying up at waiting till midnight to see the release.
There was something about that. You stayed up with your buddies till midnight together. You guys caffeinated. You went to go play a video game together, and you stayed up all night playing the video game, or you went to the movies together. Halo 2 was the first midnight launch I went to, and I was living up on Whidbey Island at the time. We drove to the Cascade Mall in Burlington. It's like a 45-minute drive. And they rolled out this huge TV from Sears, and we watched Red versus Blue. They put up Red versus Blue on for everybody. And we watched Red versus Blue, and Red Bull was there and gave out energy drinks to everybody. And my buddy and I went home, and we played Halo 2 until 6 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't stay up anymore, and I kept running off the side of cliffs. And finally went to bed. And I miss those days. That just doesn't happen anymore.
Do video games still come out on Tuesdays, or did that switch to Fridays?
Tuesdays, I believe, except for Nintendo games, those still come out on Fridays.
Okay, because when I was in high school, I was really upset because I always wanted to take the day off from school to play a video game. And then as soon as I graduated and had the power to do that, they start releasing on a Friday. And it's like, I have that day off anyway, so what's the freaking point? And then there hasn't been any midnight launches for video games anymore, so I can't go to them because it's all digital. And then it happens at
on
night.
The entire generation.
I know, and because my parents are lame, and I had to go to school because my mom's a teacher.
We should do a TikTok of us doing a midnight release when the PlayStation really actually comes out, or the Xbox, and we should just do like a fake mock TikTok version of a midnight release.
Does anybody here know the trivia as to why video games came out on Tuesdays?
No.
There's actually some trivia behind this. I found this out a couple years ago. So Sonic 2 was released on a Tuesday, and it was the first video game that was majorly marketed as Sonic Tuesday. And they were the one that set that standard. They marketed it so heavily that other competitors just started releasing them on Tuesdays. You can thank Sonic for that.
Wow.
And to this day, we can't have better video game releases because Sonic was there. Sonic got there
Sonic.
first. He was too fast. Oh no. Okay.
They didn't
and
release the movie on a Tuesday, though. I'm kind of disappointed in that.
Oh no, that can't be. That is definitely true.
You
That's
ever rewatched that
hilarious.
movie, by the way?
I never
I did. I did.
It was
Love that
better
movie.
than I expected it to be by far.
That's why I liked it so much, because I was so surprised with how just decent it was.
Well, they delayed it, so they were supposed to release it, and then they delayed it because of
They delayed it
production,
just to
and they
make him
wanted
look
to
better.
redo. They wanted to make him look better. Yeah.
But putting aside Sonic's look, like I told my wife, and I'm like, we got to go see this movie. We have to support them because they went back and they redesigned Sonic for the fans, and that's important. We got to support that. But this movie's still gonna suck. Like, it's still gonna be a really bad movie. Jim
You're going to
Carrey
do
as
your duty.
Robotnik sounds horrible. And then we rented the movie when it came out because I didn't even get a chance to go see it in theaters because, like, you know, kids and babysitting it never lined up.
Oh, sure.
And we rented it when it came out and watched it. And I finished with the movie. I'm like, that was a lot better than I like. It still was not amazing.
No, no.
It was so much better than I thought it was going to be. Enough that I would totally go see the sequel that they will eventually make for it.
I felt the same way. Was a super non-offensive movie. I was like, if I was a kid, I would have loved this movie.
Could be worse. They could have gotten the Super Mario Brothers movie I got when I was a kid.
Oh, I'm so
Oh
sorry.
yeah, I remember that.
I'm so sorry, guys.
I was so disappointed in that. Didn't they make a second one?
No, they never did. They had
thought
plans.
they were
but the
talking
first one
about it.
bombed so bad.
Yeah.
For the
No,
record,
that was
I was just gonna say, this conversation got me thinking about the next generation Sonic game, and if it was going to be in 3D, we could get ray traced Sonic the Hedgehog. Beautiful looking coins.
If it's not made by the same guy that made Sonic Mania, Sega just needs to stop. It's been years since they brought out a Sonic game that was successful, with the exception of Sonic Mania, which was made by basically by a fan that redid the original Sonic game and did such a good job that they hired him on.
What?
Yeah, look up Sonic Mania. Yeah. Some fan was like remaking Sonic 1 or something like that, and he did a great job, and Sega's like, we want to hire you to make this Sonic game a reality.
Huh.
And he made Sonic Mania, and it was, I mean, it played like a regular Sonic game from back in the day, and everybody loved it. Every other Sonic game that's come out in recent memory has sucked.
That's legit. Good for them. Yeah, this has a 9 out of 10 on Steam. No Sonic game gets that high. That's crazy. Oh, well, yeah, I hope that guy gets, I think his name is Jared Castle. It just says designer specifically on the Wikipedia page. So if that's him, congratulations, dude. You made a great game, it looks like. Oh, man.
We got off topic.
Yes, we did. We were talking about, well, I mean, it was games related. We were talking about the new consoles.
Yeah.
We got back on topic.
So, Tim, do you want to talk about the power supply?
for the
PS5.
Oh, the power cable.
The power cable. So in a we have a Slack chat that we talk about Goopplycast, and Tim put up a message of the power cord for the PS5S power.
Someone took the time to put that.
Can we get a
next to
side-by-side
ruler.
screenshot of the PS5 and the PS4? I want to show everybody how much has changed between the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5's power cable. How much engineering has changed in the last 6 or 7 years.
I'm speechless, actually, looking at it now. I can't believe.
PS4, you said power cable, right?
I mean, you could pick the PS4 versus the PS5 or even the PS3. I mean, we could show how things have gone in an even longer time. I mean, the PS3 came out in 2006, 2007. So in 13, 14 years time, I mean, we can show people how much things have changed.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I can find one on here.
In the meantime, has anyone seen what an Xbox One power brick looks like?
that doesn't
I
surprise me.
Looks like an actual brick.
I have one right here. Hold on. I'm grabbing it. That tangled.
I'm still having horror flashbacks to the 360 power brick.
Looks like an Xbox One.
Hey!
Oh, wow.
I never noticed that before. It does look just like an Xbox One.
It's huge, and it has the vents that don't do anything. It's just the markings.
But why Microsoft? But
And then
why?
On the Xbox One S, they finally they released the cable, so it doesn't have a power brick anymore.
But we could have had one that was like a little tower-shaped power brick.
That would have been cool.
Or one that looks like your router.
Matt, why do you have 3 routers?
Yeah, just one that looks just like a router.
You know somebody's going to make a router that is identical looking to a PlayStation 5 now.
I was looking at routers today on Amazon, and it was like an off-market design. It wasn't any of the big design ones, but I found one that kind of looked like the Xbox, the black one. Is that the series?
Oh, the tower?
Is that
Series
the X?
X.
The Series X, yeah.
It looked just like it, but it was white, pretty much. It was just this big, crazy looking thing, and it was
the Xbox just needs to be a router now. That's what you're telling me.
Well, I'm just saying everything just needs to be a router now. Like, I mean, but Tim's
5G works,
comparison. Right? I'll tweet out the picture that Tim took of his router side by side with an Xbox. I'll tweet it out to the Goopply account this week. And
since you couldn't find the picture, the PlayStation 5 power cable looks just like the PlayStation 4's power cable, which looks just.
Well,
like
that's probably why I couldn't find a side by side comparison, because they both look the same.
Someone had to post the picture. I think they also posted a picture of the HDMI cable that it comes with, and it's like, what's the point?
Does it look like an HDMI cable?
It's the same. It looks like I just bought an HDMI. Yeah, it's.
They should get the HDMI cable to make it look almost like it's an Ethernet cable going in the back of the PlayStation 5. Complete the router look.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you're gonna have a Ethernet port on the back of it, so I mean,
the lights also flash randomly, and
yeah.
If I was Sony, I would have taken this and just ran with it just for fun. I mean, you would have won over consumers just for your sheer humor.
Yeah, you could have put it in like real life pictures, like it's a person or something with a coat, or like it's a router in like hiding in plain sight. You could have done so much.
You should make a TikTok, Tim, that you got the new PlayStation 5.
Someone
and I probably go viral.
Someone photoshopped the Xbox Series X as a refrigerator. Like, they took a picture of a kitchen and then replaced the refrigerator with the Series X, so it just is this massive like Xbox. And then when Xbox did their presentation talking about it, one of the executives had it, they were on Zoom, and he set his background to that, so like in the background you just saw an Xbox as a refrigerator.
That's awesome.
I like when they do humor like that. When they run with the media reports and stuff like that. I remember when Steve Jobs introduced the I think it was the iPhone 4, and he was up on stage and he pulls out the iPhone 4 out of his pocket and he goes, "This is the iPhone 4. I guess you've already seen it," or something like that, because that was when the Apple developer left it in the bathroom and Gizmo got a hold of it. And then like days before the release of it, the FBI issued a search warrant for the Gizmo's house and, broke in and took it basically. Yeah.
What? Really?
That was
made a big.
I think that was like the 4S though, because I remember watching.
No, it was the 4. I think it was the 4, because it was a revolutionary design, because it was the square basically, and it was the first like real design of the iPhone, and it was left in a bathroom, and it was a prototype or wasn't a prototype, but it was a first design of it, and the developer was testing it, and he was drunk with his friends, I guess, or something, and he left it sitting on the toilet, and a Gizmo reporter got a hold of it from somebody that sold it to him, and the Gizmo paid like $500 for it or something like that to the guy.
He did call Apple, like Apple's tech support, to try to let them know.
Yeah. And they were like, I do remember that. And they were like, we don't know what you're talking about. And, but you really should watch you go back and read the media reports about it, because when Steve Jobs' reaction when he shows it on stage and everything, because it's just funny. And now Gizmo doesn't like, I feel like Gizmo is kind of tainted now because they don't really like iPhone and Apple anymore. So
I remember Steve Jobs, I saw a video not too long ago where Steve Jobs walked down the stage and he said, "Stop me if you've seen this."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, that's fun entertainment to put up, and I think, paying attention to media reports and stuff like that is kind of fun and creative too.
It would go a long way when we have so little to pay attention to this year.
I know.
A lack of new content and stuff.
And it's funny sometimes, TikTok, like I said, got me through part of this year. During the election last year, the Biden memes got me after the election results were final and everything. All the Biden memes were kind of fun and stuff like that. So it's just the little things, out there that, are pointed out. So
if Biden wins the election, I want to see a resurgence of Biden memes.
We need the quality Biden memes to resurface.
Yeah. We got off topic, but
that's true.
I think it's worth mentioning though. TikTok's here to stay. Is anybody excited?
Yes. Walmart.
Matt, have you been watching? Have you been using TikTok?
I have looked at one video, and other than that, I have not looked at anything. I'm sorry.
Such a fail. I'm just going to start sending you TikTok videos all day long.
Please do, because I don't know. I have friends who send me stuff that's awful. It would be nice to get some funny TikToks. And plus, I'm going on a vacation this weekend, so I'll be out in the middle of nowhere almost. So send all the TikToks.
So basically, you won't have cell phone service, so you'll get like
no. I'll have cell phone service, but I'll have like nothing to do.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I'll have time. I won't be working on anything. Yeah, I'd be down. But yeah, TikTok is here. There's TikTok Global now. Are you guys excited? I
am. I just I like Reels, but I feel like there's more quality content right now on TikTok, and it was really touch and go towards the end. Like Roy texted me and said, didn't they reach a deal like Friday or something like that? And I said, yeah, well, there's been speculation of a deal, but nothing's been announced formally. And, Trump was coming out and saying that, yes, there won't be an extension on the ban. It'll go into effect on Sunday. And then I think he said even possibly Saturday night it would go into effect. And like TikTokers on there were like, go follow us on YouTube, go follow us on Instagram, go follow us, everywhere else.
Quick, before it all crashes down.
A lot of them became famous on TikTok, and they're not famous on anywhere else. So I think for creators itself, I think it's a real win for them to stay around. Yeah, so I like TikTok.
And it was September 21st, like today. That was the day that
it would have been Sunday. It would have been Sunday banned. And WeChat was also supposed to be banned, which is like a chat app out of China. It's not really popular in the US, but it's more popular in China, and people who live in China talking to their family members here in the US. But there have been some security concerns around it. They won a injunction, so they didn't get banned on Sunday either.
Oh man.
So that'll get played out in court. But the TikTok is been signed off by the White House, and the data will be stored in the U.S. so that China won't be able to view it at all, and they will have access. Oracle will have access to the source code to verify that. So,
Oh wow.
If I remember correctly, the deal's still tentative. Like it's still not 100% a done deal.
no, it's still got to go through all the final processes, but there's no they don't expect there to be any issues. Trump has signed off. The owners of TikTok have signed off. Oracle signed off, and Walmart has signed off on it. So, I mean, I would be very surprised if the deal didn't go through, but who knows? It is 2020.
It can always get stranger.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad TikTok gets to stay around. It's not yet a mature platform, so we get to watch everybody like evolve and have it hit more and more mainstream, and we get even more grandmothers who are like, I can do a TikTok, and then they give us great, awesome, funny content.
Yeah. So, trying to think if we had anything else on our agenda tonight.
I can't remember if there was anything.
I don't think so. Yep. No, I think we
no.
covered everything.
Plus, we hit the 1 hour.
Nothing
mark,
on Fortnite either. So, Fortnite's
Yeah,
been
nothing
pretty quiet.
major since all that stuff happened with Apple firing back.
So I will say that on the gaming news, Apple did revise their rules for gaming streaming services on there. And they will allow streaming services like, Microsoft and stuff to do it. There is some more rules around how they need to do it. It needs to be in a container, so they can still review every apps and all that. But supposedly they're working on a deal. So hopefully that will help bring more Microsoft and, games to the iPad and iPhone and all that.
Yeah, I want Microsoft to get as much encouragement to, wait a minute, one more thing. We did not talk about how did we talk about how Microsoft spent $7.5 billion
no,
for
we didn't.
Bethesda?
No.
I mentioned Doom and Wolfenstein, but
Yeah.
no, I don't think we did. So yeah, that was a big purchase for them.
Crazy.
And that's a good deal though.
They pick up what Wolfenstein, Doom. They pick up Fallout, the Elder Scrolls franchise. I mean, they pick up some pretty big behemoths in gaming names there. And I was talking to some other friends that were speculating if this was kind of in conjunction with Sony announcing the Final Fantasy 16 game, which looks like it's going to be an exclusive on PlayStation for the first time since Final Fantasy 10 would have been the last PlayStation exclusive Final Fantasy game, as far as a main series game, which is huge.
Yeah.
That's a lot of IPs that Microsoft just picked up, like a lot.
It's. I also heard that it was the second highest video game purchase of all time so far. I think the largest other one was Tencent, the Chinese gaming giant, buying Clash of Clans, like the mobile game, in that company. So it's like Microsoft paid a ton of money for this company, and I think, like you said, Roy, having Final Fantasy, which is like a Japanese RPG game, and PlayStation has always been known for their JRPGs. Microsoft buying Skyrim, which is like one of, Skyrim and the company that makes Elder Scrolls games. It's one of the biggest Western RPGs that you can buy. So I think having that is good for Microsoft, and having future Skyrim or Elder Scrolls and Fallout games being on Game Pass is even more exciting for the exclusive content.
There are 3 games that come to mind when I think Western RPGs. I think of Elder Scrolls series, Skyrim, obviously, specifically at this point. I think of the Fallout series, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, coming into the more modern RPG era from what Fallout 1 and 2 were. And I think Dragon Age. And Microsoft now owns 2 of those 3. They're going to own the dominant Western RPG. I mean, you got what is it, BioWare that owns like Mass Effect and whatnot, but
Oh yeah,
Nobody really played
EA
Game Pass.
technically.
Nobody really plays the Mass Effect series after the trilogy. I hear Andromeda did not do too well.
Certain games with Andromeda in the name were not up to the quality of previous Mass Effect games, in my opinion. And EA is EA Origin, like EA Access, part of Game Pass right now? Is that a thing?
They just announced that EA was partnering up with Game Pass, so I think, or EA Access is what it's called. So
Yeah.
because EA released their own subscription service for EA games, which didn't do super well, so they're partnering with Game Pass. So if you subscribe to Game Pass, you get access to all of EA's catalog of games, I
That
believe.
basically is Microsoft all of the major Western RPGs.
Yeah. Holy crap. And it's cool because Bethesda is a great company. I mean, they make fantastic games, so it makes Microsoft even stronger. And with how they've been going more open as a company, trying to get their games and their profile out to the PC, which everyone has access to at whatever level you want to pay to get in, and then their own consoles. Super excited for the next generation of games.
Yep, it'll be exciting to see how it plays out.
Mhm.
Good time to play video games. There's so many options.
Well, I think that was it.
Yeah, I would agree. So thank you everyone for coming in, talking about video games, talking about a future of amazing games and great graphics, great content, great gameplay, big worlds, and all that stuff. Great pricing on the consoles. So for the Goopplycast, I'm Matt Carter. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Thanks for joining us, Tim. And thanks for joining us, Roy. Have a great night, everybody, and we will see you next time.